They say the Appalachian Mountains are full of ghosts. Old souls, forgotten paths, things buried under moss and time. I never gave much thought to local legends. I thought people just needed stories to explain the shadows in the trees. But after what I lived through, I don't think they're stories anymore. This isn't a campfire tale. This isn't something I read online. This happened to me. 3 months ago, I inherited a remote mountain cabin from my uncle. It was nestled deep in the Blue Ridge, a place not even marked on Google Maps. I only knew it existed because my uncle mentioned it in passing years ago. No one had been up there since he died in a fire, or so I was told. I was between jobs, going through a breakup, and frankly, I needed to disappear for a while. So I packed a few bags, grabbed some books, and drove 7 hours into the woods. When I arrived, the cabin was intact. It looked old. Faded red paint, moss on the shingles, a rusted wind chime that barely moved in the still air. The forest around it was too quiet. Not peaceful quiet, dead quiet. I should have turned around right then, but I told myself I was being dramatic. The inside smelled like smoke and cedar, like it hadn't been aired out in years. I found stacks of firewood by the stove, old furniture under dusty sheets, and books. Hundreds of them. Most were about Appalachian folklore, demonology, and forest spirits. I didn't think much of it. My uncle was always into weird stuff. The first night passed uneventfully. I cooked dinner, read a little, and fell asleep to the sound of light rain tapping the tin roof. Then, at exactly 2:13 a.m., I heard it. 3 knocks. Slow, deliberate. I jolted upright in bed. At first, I thought it was the wind, but wind doesn't knock. I crept to the front door, barefoot, not even breathing. I looked through the peephole. Nothing. Just darkness and mist rolling in through the trees. I opened the door a crack. Silence. I stepped onto the porch. That's when I saw them. Footprints. Bare, human footprints, soaked into the wet wood, leading to the door. But not away. The next day I tried to explain it away. Maybe I tracked mud earlier. Maybe I forgot. Maybe it was a dream. But the next night, same time, 2:13 a.m. 3 knocks. This time they came from the window. Didn't move, didn't breathe. I just sat there, under the blankets, frozen. Then I heard it whisper, "You see me now." It wasn't outside. The voice was inside my head. That morning, I ripped apart the cabin looking for answers. Behind a loose panel in the floorboards, I found a journal. It belonged to my uncle. At first, it was normal. Maintenance notes, weather patterns, hunting schedule. Then the entries changed. March 9th. It came again. 2:13 a.m. Always 3 knocks. Never opens the door. Not yet. March 11th. Saw it through the trees. Too tall, eyes like holes. Doesn't blink. Don't answer. March 14th. I heard it say my name. It knows I know. I think I let it in. That page was torn, charred around the edges, like it had been burned and smothered. That night, I boarded up the windows. I didn't sleep, just sat by the fire, axe in hand. 2:13 a.m. 3 knocks, but not at the door, not at the window, from the wall behind me. I turned slowly. The wall began to breathe. The wood expanded and contracted like lungs. Then it groaned. From within the boards, I heard scratching. Something was inside the cabin walls. Then the voice came again. "You're almost ready." I ran outside. The forest was wrong. The trees shifted when I wasn't looking. I'd walk 5 steps forward and somehow end up back at the porch. And then I saw it. Something tall, pale, and skeletal. No eyes, just sockets. Its mouth was too wide, too still. It didn't move like a living thing. It glided between the trees, never stepping, never blinking. I turned back toward the cabin. The door was open. Inside, the fire was out. The lights flickered, and on the floorboards were handprints. Hundreds of them, burned into the wood like ash. The walls pulsed again. The knocking grew louder, faster. 3 knocks from every surface, then a whisper. Open the door. But the door was open. It wasn't talking about the cabin. It was talking about me. I don't remember falling asleep. But I woke up in a different room, a room that hadn't existed before. The walls were dirt, the ceiling roots and worms. I was underground, and something was waiting for me. I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't a creature, it was a hole in the world, a shape you could only see from the corner of your eye. And when you did, it made your thoughts bleed. Then it whispered, "Let me in." That's when I knew my uncle hadn't died in a fire. He'd opened the door, and whatever he let in wanted a new home. I woke up on the porch just before dawn. My hands were covered in dirt, my clothes soaked in blood, but not mine. The cabin was gone, nothing but ashes and burned out wood. No footprints, no signs I'd ever been there. I walked until I found a ranger station, told them I got lost. They said the land I was on had been off limits for years, part of a government buyout. The ranger looked at me like I was a ghost. I didn't correct him. Now, I live in a small apartment. Concrete, steel, windows that face the sun. But every night, I set an alarm for 2:12 a.m. Because sometimes I still hear it. Knock, knock, knock. And sometimes I hear it whisper, "You already opened the door." If you ever find yourself alone in the woods and something knocks 3 times at exactly 2:13 a.m., don't answer, don't speak, and for the love of God, don't look at it.